Last weekend, I took my wife, Harriet, to a blowout meal for her birthday. 7 courses, Michelin Star place, the kind of menu where there's no price next to anything, which is either very, very cool or a trap, depending on where your head's at. We've been really looking forward to it ever since I surprised her in the morning. Good food, good wine, just the two of us, no daughter in sight, and I was genuinely relaxed going in, which sounds like it should be completely unremarkable. Except for me, for a very long time, it wasn't. Because I knew exactly what was going to come at the end of the night, the bill. And I knew from years of doing versions of this exactly what my body would do when that bill arrived. Stomach tightening, before I'd even seen the number, the fear, the low-grade dread that would follow me home, sit with me through the next morning, bleeding to the first hour of work or whatever I was doing the next day. And I'd tell myself, hey, this was just being sensible, responsible, that I knew where I'd come from and I was right to be careful. But here's what was actually happening. There was this belief about money running underneath everything that I did. Not loudly, not in a way that I could have pointed to and named easily. Just this quiet, constantly shaping every decision that I thought I was making rationally. What I spent, what I didn't spend, what I charged, what I didn't charge, what I thought I deserved, what I thought I didn't deserve. And I wasn't making those decisions consciously. That belief was making them for me. And the reason I'm telling you this isn't the meal, isn't to show off that I went to a fancy meal. It's what happened when the bill actually came. Nothing. Stomach was fine. Picked up my credit card, paid, carried on the conversation. And I had to kind of soak that in for a moment because honestly, I hadn't been sure whether that was going to happen. I hadn't really expected that stillness. I'd done so much work and enough work on this kind of stuff that I hoped it would shift. But you don't always know it's shifted until the moment arrives and your body just doesn't react the way it used to. That was the sets and reps paying off. That was training. And now I want to be straight with you about something. I'm not telling you money was this huge, dramatic wound I had to heal. It wasn't cinematic. It was just this gentle, subtle thing running in the background that I'd never really looked at. And that's the bit I want you to hear because in my experience, it's almost never the thing you'd expect. I work with business owners, right? Operators who have built real things, people who are good, exceptionally good at what they do. And the pattern I constantly see is this. There's something running underneath their decisions that they've never examined fully. And it's not always money. I work with guys whose entire day is quietly governed by the need to be liked. Not consciously. They'd tell you they're fine in a conversation or a confrontation, but watch what happens in the meeting when they need to hold a standard and it might cost them their relationship. The conversation doesn't happen, the thing slides, and they'll have a very reasonable explanation for why it was right and why that was the right call. But it wasn't the right call. That was the pattern making the call. Others I work with are running from this version of themselves that they were years ago, a period of not going back to whatever it cost them. And that fear is so embedded now that every financial decision, every hiring decision, every pricing decision has that old version of them underneath it. They're not building towards something, they're running from something. And those are very, very different engines. And some people you'd look at from the outside, think they've got it completely together, have a private suspicion that they're not quite what everyone around them thinks they are. So they overwork to cover it. They stay in the weeds because actually delegating feels like exposure. They never quite let the business get to the level it could because some part of them is just waiting to be found out. None of that is weakness. None of it is a character flaw. It's just a pattern that formed somewhere for a reason and never got looked at. And patterns respond to training. That's the thing. Same as anything else you've built capacity in. This responds to sets and reps. It's not fixed. It's not who you are. It's what you're running on right now. But here's the thing about an operating pattern. You can't see it from inside it. That's what makes it the thing. You're making what feel like rational decisions every single day, and some of them just aren't rational at all. They're just familiar. The belief running underneath your decisions isn't permanent, but it's invisible until someone helps you find it. And until you find it, it's making calls on your behalf. It's worth knowing what it is.